super impromptu video here that I've actually been meaning to make for a while. So I've been meaning to make a video like this for basically for my in-person clients and my virtual clients about the rule about not allowing your dogs in the kitchen while you have food. Okay, so not is this just some stupid rule or random thing. It's a way to create the rule structure and boundaries that I always preach about. So it's a couple days before Thanksgiving. I'm prepping some chicken wings, and Kaiser's being a dink, so I was like, this would be perfect time to make a video on how I do this stuff during the day and how you guys should do this stuff, and how training happens in your home every single day. It's not with your trainer. It's not, you know, at some facility. I mean, that's where you learn how to do this stuff. But then you go home and you got to put this stuff into place, or you got to practice having good repetition and good patterns for your dog. So I'm a big fan of teaching people how to train just organically throughout your day. So I feel like you're always missing these opportunities to train. If you let your dog just lay on the floor in the kitchen like this, not only is it like it's a hazard, you're gonna trip over the dog, it's gonna get stepped on, whatever. It's create a rule. No dogs in the kitchen. You eat 2-3 times a day. You're preparing food in your kitchen. You have an opportunity to train. All right. So a lot of people don't think this stuff is that important. It's super important. The little things are really important, guys. So I have the rule that the dogs are not allowed in the kitchen while food's out, and when we sit down to eat, they're not under our feet. To me, that's begging. I don't care if they're being good, and it's also me missing an opportunity to let them know this food is mine. This is my space. You're going to be on your place cots. So when I eat, they're on their cots. But when I cook food or we're making food, they're not allowed in the kitchen. Okay, so everybody's kitchen is different. If you have a kitchen where you have like hardwood floors or tile or different surfaces between rooms, create an imaginary line between, you know, your kitchen and your living room or whatever. If you have thresholds, doorways, use those to your advantage. Okay, so create that line. And then what you do is you present your body pressure, spatial pressure. You step into your dog's space, stand in your doorway, put your hands out, make yourself big if you need to. If the dog tries to run by you, block them. They can't get by you. Use your leash if you have to. Management, okay? All you're waiting for is the dog to either sit or lie down, okay? If your dog doesn't know how to do any of this stuff and has zero impulse control, if they're standing and you turn around and walk away, they're just going to follow you. So just be ready to turn around and correct them and guide them back into the other room. Or just not even in the other room, just over that threshold, okay? You got to do that every single time they do that. But if your dog doesn't know how to, you know, isn't very good at it, definitely have a leash on the dog, okay? Kaiser's 8 months old. We're starting to like take the leash off of him, but for the most part, he still has a leash on all the time. He still does stupid stuff, especially when I have guests over, and it's an easy way to control him and manage it. So what I can say is that if you're in a rush to cook food, make lunches for the kids or whatever, and you can't put this time in, put your dog in its kennel or use your baby gates and manage it. Don't let the dog rehearse running around the kitchen while the food's out, okay? Do it when you have the time and be prepared, and just know at the beginning it's going to suck like everything else in dog training. The dog doesn't know what we want it to do. It wants to come in here with you. So at the beginning, you have to invest some time into this. So what I can say is, if, like with all this stuff, if you invest some time in on days 1, 2, and 3 or whatever, it gets real easy going forward. Okay, there's less, they break the command a lot less. Okay, so, all right, with all that being said, my kitchen is set up different than what I was just explaining. I don't have like the threshold and the different materials. I get the same flooring throughout the kitchen, just bleeds into my living room. So what I do, I create an imaginary line, which is typically just between the counter here and this counter. I just don't want Kaiser or Bella over this line. You can't see it, but I kind of got the same thing on the other side over there. They can't be there, okay? Because if we're prepping food and stuff, I need them over there. If I really want them out of here, I'll just put them on their place cots, like if we had tons of people in here. But if it's just me cooking food and I'm doing something like I am today, I want them out of here. I don't want them under my feet. And again, it's not even about him being under my feet. It's about me creating 2-3 times a day training opportunities for my dogs to build up repetition, okay? All right, so the way this works, I just give him a command. His command is beat it. I just tell him, beat it. I don't use out because that means release a toy, but the verbal doesn't really matter. But what I need him to do is, Kaiser, come on, beat it. I'm gonna beat it. Come on, let's go. All right. He needs to be out of the kitchen. If I just come back in here like this, most likely gonna follow me in here. You kind of starting to know it, maybe not, okay? So what you want to do, this is my imaginary line, guys, right here. He's not allowed to cross this line. When I come over here and I stand here, I wait until that happens, until he lays down. And as soon as he lays down, I remove the pressure and I go back to over here. So the reason why I started to even make this video is because as soon as I started cutting the chicken, this is where he would fail, okay? So let's see what happens. I got chicken over here that I'm prepping to make some awesome chicken wings for Thanksgiving. And as soon as I would start cutting, he would break. So if he does, he's pretty good at staying over there depending on what food I have in here. If I got something like raw chicken out like this, he goes nuts. He can smell that stuff, he loses his mind. But he's holding it now. So if your dog's not good at this, guys, and they're starting to hold it and they're starting to stay there like he is right there, nothing wrong with walking over casually and just giving him, you know, a little treat, saying, good job, buddy, right? You know, letting him know he's doing an awesome job. You don't have to say the Y-E-S word. Okay, so he broke it. Okay, I'm just going to kind of walk into his space. I pointed. I'm just going to put my hands behind my back because I have chicken guts. This is no like crazy technique or anything. I just don't want my chicken hands near his face. As soon as he sits down, or as soon as he lays down, I turn around, I walk away, I go back to doing what I'm doing. I know this is stupid to a lot of people. It's boring, or it doesn't look like there's any real training, but you got to understand, especially at the beginning, especially with puppies, like 8-month-old puppy, they would much rather be in here with me or my wife while we're doing this stuff. And again, this is giving me an opportunity to train him a couple times a day. It just becomes organic. I don't carve out too much time to train him. I carve out time to play tug with him, carve out time to go for walks with him, and maybe run through a little obedience here and there. But you know, once they know the commands, it's basically just doing stuff like this and rehearsing stuff every day. At the very least, I do this stuff so we have a lot of rules of instruction. Like I said, when I would go to eat, I would sit down in there. If I go and sit down on the couch right now to eat, he runs and jumps on his place cot pretty much and stays there. Because while he was doing something like this in the place cots, I would constantly pay him while I was eating while he was sitting there like that. I'm not using treats because he's 8 months old. He knows what I want him to do. We've been doing this for a while. This isn't the first time he's done it, but if it was the very first time he was doing it, I'd probably have a bowl of kibble or a bowl of cut up green beans or vegetables. I use a lot of vegetables, and I'd be walking over there casually, just dropping treats in front of him, going back to doing what I was doing, as long as he's staying in that position. That's how he learned how to stay there. But like I said, as soon as I started cutting the chicken, that's usually when he can't handle it. So Bella's actually, she's on a place cot over there. I didn't put her on place. She just went over there on place. Bella's 6. She knows the deal. She's not allowed in the kitchen when we have food. Kaiser's 8 months. He doesn't quite know this. That's why I wanted to film this. Again, total like wicked impromptu. Wasn't planning on making a video. But I want to show you what real world training looks like. Again, it doesn't happen with your dog trainer or when you just do a session. If you're constantly trying to carve out sessions to train, and in between you let your dog do stupid shit like lay under your feet in the kitchen or lay under your feet while you're eating because I don't want to say you're too lazy to train them, but what I will say is that you're missing a huge training opportunity to make yourself very relevant. When you can master all these little things inside your home, when you go outside your home and you actually need your dog to do something, your chances go way up, but over time, they just go, why wouldn't I do it? Dude makes me leave the kitchen every time he's got food out. He makes me get on my place cot when I eat. When guests comes over, he makes me go to my place cot, you know, when he answers the door. Or, like, all these little things make such a big difference. And if you can get in the habit of just start doing this stuff throughout your day, again, so three times today, this morning when I was making breakfast, this is like kind of not even lunch for me, but I'm prepping food. I'm gonna make something to eat. He's being trained right now. He's gonna be being trained on when he sits on the cot when I eat. I'm gonna take them for a walk. It's a structured walk, tons of rules, boundaries. There's penalties on the walk. We get back, we're gonna do a tug session. The training's always happening, guys. So when you live with them and practice these things, becomes a lot easier than trying to carve out, 15, 20 minutes a day just to do this and practice this. If you don't have time to do this, like I said, put your dog in a kennel, use your baby gates. But if you can invest the time, I promise you it gets better if you invest a little bit of time at the beginning. Look, he's starting to fall asleep. But if you got a dog that keeps coming back and forth like this, you got to correct it every single time. Even if it's 100 times, that's what you got to do. But practice this stuff and the training will happen. So hope this helps somebody. Hope everyone has an awesome Thanksgiving. Peace.